Hi and welcome to Marketing Live TV for this week, where you can engage in real life marketing live on the show. This week, in the second of the website conversion series, we're going to talk about how you can convert, or how you can go about increasing the conversion on your website. So the steps that you should take and some of the processes that are actually going to get you a higher conversion rate. In the last week's show, we talked about the types of conversions and the conversion funnel and a bit about tracking. And if you want to go back to that show, learn a bit more about that, please feel free to jump over to YouTube and look into that. Just so that if you're aware, these are the social channels. If you like the show, if you like any of the content, or if you want to be part of the show, feel free to shout out on any of those channels. If you're on Periscope, hi to the guys over there. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to comment. And even on Periscope, feel free to comment. We'll jump in and see what we can do. So thanks for joining us this week on Marketing Live TV and how to convert more people on your website. All right, so as mentioned, this week, converting or website conversions and how to do it. And I'm going to step through a bit of a process and just analyzing your website, planning what you should be doing, and then adapting the design for conversion. And so that is a bit of it's not exactly the how-to, but it's the process that you need to go to get there. So in that, I suppose from most of the people that I know, and most businesses I know, they're all about, I need to get more traffic to my website. I need to get more people. I need to drive volume, and I don't want to pay a lot for it. But the problem is, if your website is not converting those customers, then you're paying and you're going to all of that effort, and it's like water through a sieve. You're just letting it all go away. So if you don't address the conversion part first, you're wasting your effort on the front end. Now, not to say there isn't branding benefits and all that sort of stuff, but you're losing a lot of potential customers because you didn't optimize it at the start. So that's what a lot of people say. So the process that I look for and sort of in my research on this over the past must be 8 years or so, has always kind of guided me to this same three main steps, which is analyze what you've got and where you're going, plan what you want, and then design for that. So in that first step, the analysis, you need to understand what conversions you want. Now, in an example, I'll give you a real live example. So if I just bring this up here we have a website. It's a beauty salon, just a small local beauty salon. Not a lot of traffic to the site, but the really significant thing is that it converts well. So if we look in a bit more detail at the analytics, now this is last month's stats. I mean, it's there, but what you'll notice in particular is this conversion rate. Now, most websites, a good conversion rate can be anywhere from 2 to 3%. If you're going over and above that, then you're getting quite up there. And in my experience, you can have far higher conversion rates if your website is really narrowed down. But the point is that you know your conversion rate. Now, one of the other things is knowing what conversions you're after. Now, if I jump back and we just zoom in here, we'll see that there's, in this one's quite easy to follow. 3 conversions: sign up, place an order, and make an appointment. So we can see that like those conversions are exactly what the owner is trying to do. So there's 3 objectives for every part of the website. Now, as we saw, not all of them are 100% optimized, but one of them is, which is a good start, and then drive traffic towards that. Then you do the next one, and you do the next one. So you don't need to convert to optimize for all of them, all of your conversions at the same time. So, so the first stage is, what are your conversions? Knowing those parts, and then what are your conversion rates for that? Because if you know that, it means that you're set up, you're ready to go, and then you know where you need to get to. So, so for that website, or for the Summer Beauty website, 5.5%. So from there, you basically want to go, well, what, and then it's just a scale thing. If I drive more traffic converting at this rate, how many, in this case, appointments or bookings will I get? So that's the analysis part. Then once you've got that, you've got a clear understanding of what you need. Then for each part of that, you move on to the planning. So for individual conversion, you move on to the planning phase for that conversion. And so let's just say, for example, we want to get that website converting to a, let's pick 10%. Why not? So then what do you need to do to get it up to 10% from 5.5%? So what are the elements that you can do? What are the steps in the process that conversion takes? So that falls into the planning phase. So for each part, for each conversion, and for each step in the conversion. So this is one of the bits that people generally don't map out, is they go, oh, my website's not converting, but there's 5 different pages that they need to go through to get from landing on the site to the very end of the purchase, or the whatever it is they want to do. So then they need to optimize every step of that process. So if you optimize one step, the first step, and increase it by 20%, and then the second step and increase it by 20%, and the third step and by 20%, that all of those percentages add up, but to give you a larger number at the end. And that's what it's all about. So you need to know on each step, how can I increase the number of people going through to the next step, which is great, because once you've mapped it out, then you go from there. So the first part is, for each step, just identifying opportunities. So go through the process. If you want to increase the conversion rate on selling a certain product on your website, then step through the process, screenshot it, write it down, and on each step, write down all of the opportunities that you think may possibly improve it. Now, I'll go through some of those a bit later in the design phase, but write down all the opportunities, all the thoughts. It doesn't matter how big or small it might be. All those little things will give you the basis of what you will change first when it comes to doing that. So then the planning phase, just in this planning of the process and all that sort of stuff, once you've done all of that and you've got all the steps and you know what your objectives are and you know where you want to go back a step and say, is this the easiest way to get to the end? Now, if you've got a step in the middle that is if you've got a 2-step like shopping cart, or a 2-step process that you can combine into 1 step, and even combine the forms into a simpler, less cluttered form, or less information they have to fill in, or if you can find a way for them to pre-fill that in, or if you even go a step further and you know who they are already and pre-fill it in, then that takes away a barrier, and all of the barriers that you can take away will increase your conversion rate, increase the people that go all the way through without having to make them think or make them do a lot. And I can't emphasize enough that people don't want to spend hours filling in details just so that you can get a booking. If you have to make it easy on the first step and then progressively grab that details over time, do it, because it'll increase your conversion rate to get you whatever the objective is. All right, so then going on, let's talk about we've gone to the planning part where we've looked at the steps and the making it easy, check the customer journey, all of your opportunities for fixing that, and then so from there you move on to the opportunities for design. Now, design's not just the design; it's the design of the user experience and the user interface, UX, UI. For those that are people that are into acronyms out there, also the design for the process and that sort of thing. So, so let's take a look at. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, I'm going to this week's marketing hack. Let's just pull back a step, slow it down, and go into something that's going to make your life just that little bit easier. Now, this week's marketing hack is a small tool that that I use. I'm going to just stop and go. I'm not a graphic designer, but I do have to do a lot of design. I have to put a lot of images out, and I have to do it relatively quickly. And this tool makes it so easy for me because I can do multiple images effectively at the same time without having to redesign in Photoshop. Now, guys out there that love Photoshop and the designers, guys and girls, and the designers, I completely understand why you use a powerful tool like Photoshop or InDesign or Illustrator. But if you have to produce something quickly and you have to produce lots of them, and the actual pixel perfect location of things doesn't need to be 100%, then a tool like Canva is a great one. And I use it. I also use Photoshop and Illustrator, but I mainly use Canva for producing images. Now, I am going to show you and this week's marketing hack is Canva resize function in particular. So the Canva resize function is a great one. So this week's marketing hack, here's the images for the website conversion shows. These are the thumbnail shows that you'll see on YouTube and Facebook and on Periscope. Now, if I wanted to create the social posts for these, I hit social post and abracadabra resize, as they say. And then what it will do is it will take those images and all of the assets, and while it won't resize them perfectly, and unfortunately I've got custom images for this, so it's not a really good example, but it will resize them, and you obviously need to do some tweaking along the way. It's not perfect, but at least you have all of the elements there that you can go straight into the resize. So that's this week's marketing hack, is Canva resize. Great tool, and you can resize for a whole heap of different sizes. So if you're doing a social post on Instagram, your Twitter posts that should be a different size. If you're doing a different banner or something like that, email headers, can do it all at the tick of a button, and then tweak the images and off you go. That's as simple as that. So it's a really good tool. I like it. All right, so moving on, last phase. You know where you're going with your conversion rate. You know what you need to do. You've got all your options. Now you look at your website and you go, these are all the things I want to do. So to do that, here's the design tips are simply, well, they're simply that. They're tips to look for opportunities to improve. So there's 5 of them that I'm going to go through. There's thousands more. A simple search on improving website conversion or website conversion optimization will give you 100 more, but these are the ones that are going to create the most impact, I feel. Now, the first one is simplify the design and remove distractions, anything that doesn't need to be on the page. If there's other information, if there's links to other information on, especially on pages that you need them to perform an action. For example, if you want them to go to, if you're using your home page as a filter and there's 3 banners on them and one of them, and there's 3 different types of products, let's say, that's a page as a filter, then use that and get rid of all of the other distractions so that when they go there, you tell them what they're there for, why that you're good at whatever it is you do, and here are the 3 things or the whatever, however many things that you need to look at if you're interested in this product, as an example. And that is one objective. Get them into the funnel. Then, simplify the design, remove distractions, remove any other banner advertising and other videos that might not be serving the objective. Have them on your about page, have them on other pages where when they want that information, they go specifically to that. But keep the pages or the pages in your funnel as clean and on point as possible. Second is make a clear title and make the title exactly what they're there for. So don't stuff around with trying to do SEO in your title and making it ridiculously long and adding all these extra bits in it. Make it clean, clear, and exactly what you want it to do, and make it readable. Third is always include a reason for action at the very top. So in your description, underneath your title, you might have images or whatever it may be, but why should they choose a product with you? Now, let's go to this as an example. So back to the Summer Beauty website. Now, here's an example of that in process. So you'll see that there is the title up the top here. It has an image, obviously, of facials. There, images is another one. And then, now, I'm not a copywriter, and there's pros and cons to different ways of doing this. Copywriters, feel free to jump in and tear this apart because I'm sure the owners will be happy. But anyway, a reason for booking with this one, with your business. Now here, it's obviously around organic, luxurious, natural, the reason why you would go there rather than someone else. And that's really important because that then forms the justification for them to move down the page. Now, that brings, then to the 4th point, which is description and images. Now, you always want to have some sort of image or some sort of description, some reason why that you want to describe what you want them to do, so what you want them to have. If you've got a product, you want to tell people about it. So, so you need your title, your images. Video, there's pros and cons to video, so make sure that you understand what video will do to customers on your site. Now, if you're on a high converting page where you want them to actually perform an action, a recommendation, not all the time, is to not have a video on that page, because if they watch that video, they get distracted from the process of moving through the path of booking or purchasing or whatever it may be. So there's pros and cons to video. Now, video is very good at the top of funnel when people are still not sure whether you're the right company for them. And at the bottom of the funnel, you need, when they're closer to actually purchasing, you need to remove all distractions and make it as clear as possible what you need them to do and what you want them to do. And a really good thing to remember is don't make the customers think. There's a book on it if you can go and read it, but it basically, in summary, it's if you can show clearly and simply the value and why they should purchase from you, then don't make them think about it. So if they need to calculate how much better value you are to your competitors, and you can find your competitors' price, so put it on there and show them the value. They don't need to go out and calculate it and then come back. They can do it, they can see it. If they need to, they can open up a web browser, find it, and they go, right, yeah, that's true, great. So there's no issue, so there's no resistance. So make your description and images, sell the product, show them the value, and don't make them think. And then the last one is a clear call to action. Now, it's a marketing term, call to action, but it is what it is the action that you want them to do, make it clear. Now, generally, it is a button that says book now, buy, find out more, subscribe, something like that, call, any of those sorts of things. The action that you want them to do, and you need to describe that action clearly. So if you want them to call, and you've got a button there, and it's called, and it says call, don't just put the button in call. Put the button and the phone number, and then call, or call phone number, or book an appointment, or buy now, or whatever it is. The clearer the call to action, the better, and also the more visually impactful compared to the rest of the site. So if you have a very busy site, it makes it really hard to have a clear call to action stand out on the site so that they know exactly what you want them to do. Where if you've got a clean site with only some simple images and simple text and a big bold button that says, call now, then obviously after they've read all of the information, they know exactly what they need to do if that appeals to them. Right, so that's the steps, and then following that, you just need to make those changes. So if you need to strip out some colors out of your site, increase the number of images to help sell the product, increase the description and that sort of thing, do all of those things. Do them one at a time if you have to, so that you know which ones are working. A/B test, multivariate test, if you understand what that is, and if not, just go with simply doing it and testing it. Now, the last point that I really have to reiterate is using customer data. If you know about the customer and you know who they are, the biggest conversion change that you can make is using their own information when you know who they are and saving them the effort. Now, if you've sent them via an email to your website, now it's one of the most annoying things that I have when companies do this. They've sent me an email to go and do, download a white paper, and then I click on that, and then I've got to go and fill in my details. But they've sent me to the website. They've got my details. So pre-fill that in. You know who they are. Send them to the website. Have it all completed. Or even better, don't have them complete the details that they've already completed. Have them complete something else. Get to know something else about them that you might not have had before. Now that sort of progressive profiling or progressive data acquisition is so much more valuable to you, and it shows that you're listening to your customer. Now that will increase your conversion rate phenomenally. I've seen it happen so many times where you go through to a form, you have to fill in your data, they send you to another one, then you have to fill in all your data again, and it's just, it means that they're not paying attention every time you fill that in, where if they had have used that data and kept asking more and different questions, they might have led me further down a more personalized sales path. That's a conversion hack for you if you're after something like that. All right, so thanks for watching this week. I really appreciate all of the views and people watching and comments that people have made in the past, and all of the support that we've had. We'll see you next week for the last show in website conversion, which will and we'll that'll be it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching Marketing Live TV. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Join us on any of these channels. Bye for now.